Y como les dije, les comenté que tenía a mi súper invitado, mi amigo. Ha nacido en los suburbios de Filadelfia, es una palabra que me cuesta decir a veces. Es de Aries. Comenzó a tocar la batería a los 12 años. Está tocando en la banda de Doro, tocó en Wasted, Mariah, Uncle Erna, Blaze Bailey, Jack Frost y mi favorita, Britney Fox. Tenemos nada más y nada menos que a mi querido amigo, Johnny D. Johnny, how are you doing, brother?
Hola, Lucas.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome here in the sunny California.
Yeah, man. Are you
And
guys pretty tight locked down over there still?
yeah, we are. Yes, I don't know. You know what? It was like I've been working so far. I've been in
Yeah,
lockdown. I've been under unemployment or not doing anything for some months when we were all together, not doing anything.
yeah,
It comes and go, How is in
yeah.
Germany? ¿Cómo es en Alemania?
Germany's pretty much the same. We're pretty strictly locked down right now. Much of the, shops are closed and no restaurants, anything like that happening.
Oh,
Just takeout food and schools are down, and so it's kind of tough time. There's a couple areas that are doing pretty bad. We were
oh.
doing pretty good early on, but I mean, now things are starting to spread out and get different, and you got all kinds of different stuff going on. So hopefully, once the weather breaks and these vaccines start to get out there, we'll be doing better.
Bueno, le pregunté un poquito cómo estaba la situación en Alemania, que están encerrados, que bueno, solo no se puede ir a ninguna parte, comprar comida para ir a recoger y que bueno, hay ciudades que están pasándola bastante mal y ellos dentro de todo están bien y están esperando a la vacuna. Le voy a preguntar si se va a vacunar. Are you gonna get vaccinated?
I mean, I think I don't really get those, I don't get flu shots and stuff like that, but this is a whole different thing we've never seen before. It's hard to tell what is wrong and right. Right now it looks like everybody should and has to do it. And especially for a musician that would like to tour in the future, I'm sure it's going to be a huge part to have proof that you're vaccinated to visit other countries and stuff like that. So we'll see what pans out. But right now, I think I have some time to wait anyway, because there's many people in front, the
Yeah, but it's
elderly
even
and the
tough to talk about it because if you say, yes, I'm going to take it because it's the right thing to do, uh, there's people that is against that if you say, no, man, no, not for me, it's even
yeah,
hard to give an explanation, right?
yeah. It's hard to really find a place where you sort of feel like, because it's not black and white. This thing is something different, so it's
Yeah.
impossible to choose something so directly right now. Yeah, it's been a year or so, but it really, in the big picture, it's not very long at all with something like this. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't pretend to know the science behind it all, but I'm definitely sitting on the fence right now.
Bueno, le decía, ¿no? De que es difícil incluso dar una opinión acerca si uno dice sí, hay que vacunarse, es lo correcto, pero está la gente que piensa opuesto, y si uno dice lo otro, está en la misma situación en la que incluso opinar es un tema complicado, y él decía que sí, en este momento él está en el medio, porque es algo que apareció con muy poco tiempo y hay muchas cosas que no se han determinado, que no están claras, entonces es un tema muy complejo y una decisión también muy difícil de hacer. Le voy a preguntar qué lo hizo irse a vivir a Alemania. What made you move to Germany?
It's funny because oh man, I've been in Doro's band for, geez, it's like 27 years now or something like that. And you would think the right time for me to move was maybe like 20 years ago, and I never
Yeah.
did because if the band wasn't touring or working, I was always running back to the US to do other gigs and stuff like that. So, but a couple years ago, I met my girl, and I just started thinking about, spending more time here. And it just made sense, that I really don't have to commute so far back and forth. But then we really seriously got together, and now we have a young son who's going to be 2
Ujú.
next month. And that was, then I thought, like, yeah, this is the right reason. And it's been really cool. I mean, it just to jump on a train or drive to a gig instead of having to do like a transatlantic flight every time, there was a show or something like that. So yeah, I feel at home here.
Ujú.
I miss my American family, of course, but I've been here, coming here and spending so much time in Germany over the last, 2 decades, that
Yeah.
it feels good to me. It feels like, feels normal in a way. Just that my German still sucks. So I'm actually taking some courses right now.
Oh,
So
really?
I hope to improve. And I have to do that to be living here also,
Mm.
to be a resident. So yeah, working on that.
Bueno, le preguntaba qué lo hizo mudarse a Alemania y él dijo, bueno, mira, yo hace 27 años más o menos que toco con Doro es una decisión que tal vez tendría que haber hecho hace 27 años, que andar yendo y viniendo de Estados Unidos a Alemania, pero bueno, hace un par de años que decidí venirme a vivir a Alemania. Es una decisión que hice porque cuando conocí a quien es mi esposa ahora, ya tenemos un nene de 2 años que va a cumplir años pronto y fue ya el momento como para decir, bueno, me vengo a vivir acá, aunque ya venía muy seguido a Alemania porque soy el baterista de Doro, entonces había mucho trabajo para hacer y yo cuando me estaba viviendo en Estados Unidos también tenía de repente conciertos allá cuando no tocaba con Doro, pero en definitiva fue lo que me llevó a terminar viniendo a vivir a Alemania y lo que sí todavía apesto con el idioma, con el lenguaje, estoy tratando de aprender para agarrar la residencia. So you can get the citizenship?
I won't get a
You have to,
citizenship. I have a residency.
yeah, but
If
in order
I,
to get the citizenship, you need to speak German. Is it?
yeah, and I'd have to renounce my American citizenship. I can't have dual citizenship, so
Yeah, yeah.
don't know about that. I
But the thing,
got close to doing it, but
you know that I don't know how it's working with Germany, but as far as I know, each country has its own rules. I mean, if you quit to your American, citizenship, I think for America you still are American so far. I don't think they're gonna say, "Hey, Johnny,
yeah,
quit," because
right. No
I
more coming in.
I had to do it with my Argentinian citizenship when I became American, but I'm still Argentinian. So check this out because I think it's not that big deal.
Yeah, I haven't checked out, the small fine print, but I'm pretty sure that it's a one-way deal. I know I can't hold two passports, but maybe,
No?
yeah, no, maybe there's another way around it, but yeah, I'll look into it. I'll let you
Okay.
know.
Bueno, hablamos de la ciudadanía, de que para ser ciudadano alemán tiene que aprender alemán y tiene que renunciar, según él, a la ciudadanía norteamericana. Y yo le decía que en realidad, por ejemplo, cuando yo me hice norteamericano, renuncié a otras ciudadanías, pero aún para Argentina sigo siendo ciudadano argentino, así que aparentemente no es un problema tan serio. Vamos a preguntarle cómo empezó con la música. How do you start playing music? Tell us the beginning.
Beginning just like every other kid at that time. This is, you know, obviously going back before YouTube and all the media, you know, overload that we have now. I mean, it was a very simple time. I grew up in the 70s, just a kid, you know, in love with music. I have an older sister. She's like 6 years older than me. So she, in her teen years, I was listening to all the classic rock stuff at the time, like, you know, Elton John, Alice Cooper. I know it's Alice's birthday, and it made me think about some of the first things that I really fell in love with as a kid, like heavy, almost, you know, scary rock music and stuff. She had
Horror
some
music, yeah.
Alice Cooper records and posters on her wall. She went to see him in concert. So I was always checking that out. And but I had music in me from the very beginning. I was as a very small child, I was singing in the choir in Catholic
Oh,
school, and doing so. I had a musical ear, and then that just kind of led me to rock and roll, and drums were just sort of a natural, I don't know, I just like loved the way they looked and they sounded, and would always watch. If I saw a drummer playing live, I was always really intrigued by that more than anything else. And one day I just asked for a drum kit, and, you know,
oh,
started from that point banging around in my parents' basement, and every, you know, year or so getting a little bit better and learning more things, listening to more music, playing along with my favorite records, and teaching myself how to play. And then the next step was to play with friends or other musicians, and yeah, it was just a natural progression like that. I mean, we couldn't really, you could take lessons from a music store, but you couldn't really like sit in your room and watch a you know, instructional videos,
yeah,
or, you know, hours and hours of things, which would probably make it so much easier and take less time
yeah.
to form yourself. But in a way, it was more, yeah, it was more mystique about it all, and you know, and eventually getting into other bands like Kiss and Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and all kinds of stuff. And really, it was a great time to be into music, and everything didn't seem very confusing. Like a lot of people had the same interests and things, and you could really get together with other guys and start a band or based around the music that you like, you know.
Right,
And
right.
it's different now, not that it's better or worse, but it just that at
It
that time,
changed.
that's the way it went down. Yeah.
Yeah. Bueno, le preguntaba acerca de sus comienzos. Bueno, como todo chico, él siempre estuvo inspirado en sus ídolos como Elton John. La hermana de él, que tiene 6 años más, es la que empezó a escuchar esta música, y él a consecuencia escuchaba Alice Cooper, tenía todos los pósters de Alice Cooper, y le gustaba mucho el tema del el rock horror y todo eso. Entonces así fue como en un momento le pidió a los papás que le compre una batería y empezó a practicar en el sótano, y así fue como empezó a conectarse con otros chicos, con otros músicos, y empezó a tocar. Y en aquel momento no había YouTube, y de repente aprender era más difícil, a pesar de que tengo oído total, que significa de que él con facilidad comprende la manera de las notas y todo eso. Pero aún así no había videos educativos que pudieran facilitar la manera de tocar. Se tardaba mucho más en sacar cosas que hoy en día por ahí se hace con más facilidad, pero son distintos tiempos. Ahora las cosas son diferentes a antes. Y bueno, hasta ahí me acordé. I tried to put it everything in just a few seconds.
Yeah, I'll try to keep the answers shorter. That's a lot of
Ah,
work
it's
for me,
fine.
man.
Just express yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Estaba diciendo que me dice que va a ser las respuestas más cortas, pero le dije no, no, que se exprese. So then you went to UK, right? Fuiste a Inglaterra, empezaste a tocar en Wasted. You started playing in Wasted.
Yeah, that was my first major gig. I did some time around the Philly, Jersey area with some local bands, and that whole scene was starting to pick up and grow on its own. And it's funny because as I, got a lucky break and went to England, all of a sudden, there was all this other stuff happening back in my home area, with
De
Cinderella getting
Cinderella.
signed and things like that, the Hooters and other Philly bands. And, but yeah, I went to England and hooked up with Pete Way and Paul Chapman and
Mm,
Danny Vaughan, of course, and joined later version of Wasted, who had already done a couple albums with some different
yeah.
lineups. And yeah, so I found myself in England for the first time playing with some heroes of mine, which was just a mind blower. And yeah, that was awesome. I mean, that was like my introduction to the real rock and roll
Wow.
life.
Bueno, le preguntaba que justamente cómo fue con estar con Wasted, que todo, Pete Way, Paul Chapman, que han empezado la banda. Él se va a Inglaterra, mientras que en Filadelfia se estaba armando toda una buena movida con The Hooters y Cinderella, donde después de ahí pasó obviamente Britney Fox. Y él, bueno, empezó a tocar con estos grandes, ¿no? Que Pete Way estuvo en UFO, entonces tocar en las siguientes formaciones, que no fueron las originales, con Danny Bond, y eso fue su primer, digamos, banda importante, a pesar de que tuvo que hacerlo en Europa. It's funny that you are so connected with Europe, you know, between
Yeah,
you, Wasted and
Wasted and
Doro,
Doro, yeah.
and you are American. I mean, you have your bands also here, no? So you were
Right.
so yeah. So
Yeah,
how
it was good to have that introduction through England because there was so many bands from England that we were fans of, and then to all of a sudden go there and see these things, and I'm like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd and the Beatles, and and this, and then it was the new wave of British heavy metal thing
yeah,
with Saxon and Maiden and all these bands
Judas,
that yeah, Priest, and just really cool, man. And I would just before I went there, I was a huge fan of Kerrang magazine. Back in
oh
Philly, I'd be
really?
reading Kerrang like religiously, and then all of a sudden, I'm there where all this stuff was happening. So that was really cool. But yeah, it is pretty wild that most of the stuff, was in Europe or over this side of the pond, which is cool. A little
No,
bit different.
me decía que le decía que loco que has estado muy conectado con Europa, con Wasted y Doro, y siendo americano, que estaba tu banda acá, tu movida acá. Me dice, sí, bueno, fue increíble que yo me gustaba mucho la revista Crank y todas esas bandas, bueno, primero los Beatles, Zeppelin y después toda la movida del el nuevo heavy metal y que yo veía en la revista todos esos ídolos y estaban ahí, como Judas, Maiden, Saxon, y todo eso fue bastante bueno, muy bueno que se me haya dado de poder estar tan conectado con Europa. And well, last year we have a tough year for everyone, but probably
Mm.
since Pete and Paul passed away, right? How do you take that? ¿Cómo tomaste que murieron Pete Way y Paul Chapman?
That was rough, man, especially so close together, and really hits home, because we're all getting older, and those guys, I mean, they went fairly young. I mean, I don't think,
Mm,
you know, and Paul on his birthday, and Pete, I guess, would always, one would say that he was burning the candle at both ends for quite a long time, so uh, it wasn't as much of a shocker. I know he's had health problems and stuff like that, and Paul was
Yeah,
a little bit more unexpected at that time, but just both of them going so soon within each other's, time, and to been having played with them both, it was very sad because it brought back all those memories of the time that we did together, and I owe them a lot because that was my start into
yeah.
the big time, and we got to do a lot of cool stuff. For me, my first arena tours and my first major recording, um, and just those guys were super cool and funny, and you learn a lot of what to do and what not to do around legendary rockers like that,
Did
so
you
it was
remain in touch?
with Paul mostly. Every once in a while we would talk because we worked
Mm.
on a project together, like a Paul Chapman project where he was re-recording some UFO stuff, and this unfortunately never even saw a release.
Mm.
And Pete, I hadn't seen Pete since, oh man, I ran into him in Germany somewhere at some festival. He was in town working in Hanover somewhere, and I saw him very briefly, but that was probably 15 years ago. So I
Wow.
hadn't seen him that much, and didn't talk to him as much. But we had, really good relationship when we were in a band together. And,
Good.
unfortunately, when he couldn't come to the States anymore, we didn't really get
Ya.
to catch up as much.
Bueno, le preguntaba un poquito cómo vivió el tema de que haya muerto Pete Way y Paul Chapman el año pasado, hay muy pocos meses uno de otro y fue bastante choqueante, dice yo. Les debo donde estoy ahora, toda mi carrera empezó gracias a ellos, de donde toqué y que con Pete ya tenía problemas de salud y Paul era un poquito menos esperado de que pasara y bueno, fueron cosas que todos nos vamos a morir, pero para mí murieron muy jóvenes. Les pregunté si seguía en contacto con ellos, con Paul seguían mucho más en contacto, de hecho hizo un proyecto junto donde creo que dijo él que participó, pero con Pete hace como 15 años que no hablaban, pero siempre hubo buena onda y todo. En especial perdieron un poco el contacto cuando Pete ha sido prohibido de que pueda entrar a los Estados Unidos por cuestiones creo que de abuso de sustancias y todo eso. Así que bueno, esa es la situación. Le voy a preguntar de una banda que se llama Guerra Mundial número 3, donde grabó su primer disco, si no me equivoco. I'm going to ask you about, I've been digging on your life a little bit, and I found that you play in World War III, but it's not the Mandy Lion Band, right?
Correct. Yeah. It was a band from the East Coast, actually predated the Mandy Lion
Yeah.
version, or whether that was a little bit later. But these guys, two brothers, Dan and Gary Hammer were their names, and they really were some of they were ahead of their time, I'd say, because they were writing some killer metal, real heavy rock stuff, anthemic and really great. And they had some interest from a lot of fanzines around the world, and they had a huge following in like the suburban areas outside of Philly.
Oh,
And kids, they would throw these parties in like a barn, for example, and you would pay $5 and there would be a keg of beer, and they would just play a concert, before anybody was really going to like shows, or you know so if you were stuck out in the middle of nowhere, you got this band that's like fucking great, and they're playing in this garage or whatever. And
ah,
so they had some dealings with some small managers and labels and things, but nothing ever really seemed to materialize. And they were a little bit older than me, and they were obviously during, what is this, about 1984, 85,
85.
when when the glam scene was really killing and everybody was so concerned about their looks and things, these guys were they weren't pretty, that's for sure, you know what I mean? So they were a little bit ahead of their time in their looks as well. I mean, a couple years later in the 90s, you could look like anything, you know, bald, you know, tattooed up the wazoo. And but yeah, I mean, they were a great band. I loved playing with them, and just great songs.
Have you ever
And we
talked to
did,
them ever?
mm, well, the bass player, he just like sort of faded into normal life, and I never really kept contact. I mean, I've asked, you know, mutual friends about the guy, and nobody seems to know where he is. He's just kind of like, you know, faded into normalcy. And the guitar player, brother, who was an excellent player, he just like, it was weird because when we played together, he would drink beer and didn't do any drugs or anything like that. And then later on, I found out that like he joined some biker club, and he was like, you know, either doing meth
Wow.
or dealing meth and all this weird shit. And I'm like, that is so bizarre. It's so not like him. But yeah, I haven't seen them forever, man, probably like 30 years or so. But yeah, it was some cool stuff out of France at the time. And this was, you know, during
Yeah,
that, you know, Kerrang days and stuff like that.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
so
Bueno, le preguntaba un poquito de una banda anterior a Britney Fox que era World War III, si era la misma banda de Mandy Lion, pero no, obviamente que no, era una banda anterior donde había un par de hermanos que tocaban. Están muy adelantados a su época, asumo, por lo que entendí, en cuestión de look, porque en los 80 era todo pelo batido y ellos eran un poquito diferentes y era muy buena banda, tocaron, grabaron. Le pregunté si estaba en contacto con ellos, me dijo el bajista desapareció, se fue completamente fuera el tema de la música. Y con el guitarrista, si bien tomaba cerveza, no hacía drogas ni nada, y de repente me enteré de que se unió a una banda de motoqueros y empezó a hacer metanfetamina, y bueno, una historia completamente diferente, pero hace años que no se trata con ellos. Fue una banda que él estuvo en los años 80, el año 84, 85. So this leading to the next band, which is Britney Fox, and I checked something. I mean, the story is amazing, and the band is. Let me show you what I have here. I have some stuff. I found this single, which is Girls School.
yeah, I remember that. That was the first CD single we had, I think, on Columbia.
Yeah, and then
I
you sent me
remember
this one.
that. Oh
Look,
yeah,
remember this
No
one?
Name.
No
Yeah,
Name.
No
We're gonna
Name.
talk about. And I have some of the albums. I don't have. I'm missing Michael to be completed some of the albums, and Dean this one, you know.
Mm.
But I also have Uncle. You sent me this one too. This one, which
Yeah,
is.
cool. Yeah, that was
And
fun.
I found that I have this one. I didn't know I had this one, Maria, which is not Britney
Okay,
Fox.
yeah.
Yeah, so you are
Did a
here.
little time with those guys, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, besides the story of Britney Fox, I've seen. Oh, let me just translate a little bit. Le estaba diciendo cuán
Yeah.
fanático soy de su banda, que es una de mis favoritas. Me encanta Britney Fox. Adoro Britney Fox. Encima los chicos son excelentes conmigo, y le mostraba un poquito de mi colección, que parte de esa colección me la regaló él. Y le voy a preguntar acerca de que en el 2008 Billy intentó hacer la banda por sí solo, pero había una demanda por parte de Michael y el manager, pero también estaba el nombre de Billy como demandante, lo cual se hizo confuso. Empecé a investigar un poco y le voy a preguntar acerca de eso, ¿no? De qué pasó en el 2008 cuando Billy empezó la banda solo. So I would like to ask you something that is confusing to me. In 2008, Billy Childs tried to use the name of the band, but when I'm checking in the records, he was stopped by Michael, the manager, but also was his name on the plant. I mean, on that side, which is weird. What happened with that story?
Yeah, that is weird. I'm not sure about the him being on both sides of the thing, but I assume that it's because they were the original agreement of the band was Dean Davidson, Billy Childs, Michael Kelly Smith, and our manager Brian Kushner. They were the original corporation. Because I came sometime later, I wasn't involved in that agreement. So, but yeah, after, as you probably know, with other bands who've fought over band names, after some time of inactivity, Britney Fox became a non-entity, and Billy found this out and went and basically copyrighted the name in only his name. So it was a pretty shady move, but I guess in his thinking it was, if nobody's going to use this or do anything with the band name, I'm going to go, try to make some money or do something with it. And he did, and didn't really tell anybody. And that was the worst part of it, was that he just took it amongst himself to do it. And Brian and Michael obviously were very, taken aback by that, and they tried to bring legal action against it. And it's amazing when you find out that you don't really have a case, even though you're a part of an original agreement. If this agreement goes for so long and it just kind of doesn't exist anymore. So there was
Right.
a lot of fighting and trying to stop it, and it didn't really work. And then Billy just kind of ran whatever kind of band he had,
Yeah.
to its course, and then it fell apart anyway. But it really, to me, wasn't really Britney Fox, and it wasn't a very good attempt at a reunion or some kind of, tour. They didn't do any new music. They just went out and played some
Pleasure.
shows, and that was that.
Ok, bueno, le pregunté un poquito qué pasó con eso del uso del nombre por parte de Billy, y él me decía de que fue una movida un poco desafortunada, porque él quiso armar esta banda, que obviamente no era Britney Fox, no le avisó a nadie, no me avisó a mí de que si yo podía tocar. Hablamos un poquito de esto antes para asegurarme de que esté todo bien con él para hablar de este tema. Y bueno, no le avisó a él podría haber tal vez movido o haber manejado algunas fechas con su banda y participar, pero bueno, el tema es que lo que no entiende él tampoco es eso de que él estuvo en las dos partes de la demanda, pero Michael, el guitarrista, y el manager, Brian, le hicieron una demanda para que pare, no use el nombre, porque él pensaba que como la banda no estaba funcionando ya hace un buen tiempo, que nadie le importaría, y en vez de agarrar y preguntar, simplemente agarró y quiso poner la banda bajo su nombre. Y no, y el acuerdo original es con el cantante original, el guitarrista, él y el manager. Ellos son los que tienen el nombre, la propiedad del nombre. Entonces eso fue todo un tema que fue una mala movida. But it came to, I mean, I've seen you guys playing in 2016, last time that I saw you guys here in LA. So you want
Yeah.
to, I mean, you solved the situation, right? Ustedes solucionaron el problema, pues los vi después en el 2016.
Yeah, what happened was, I guess after that initial failure that Billy had, nothing happened after that for some time. It was, I guess, another 8 years or something, where finally another person, a manager that Bill was working with, was the person who made the connection, to speak to me. and ask if, you know, I was into trying to do this again the right way. And he offered to put some money behind it and to get us up and running. And Tommy was involved. So it was, you know, we had the Bite Down Hard lineup,
Right.
except that Michael had made it known even previous to all the other lawsuit shit that he didn't want to tour anymore.
Oh,
So
okay.
he was pretty okay with us just getting someone to replace him, you know. But
Okay.
yeah, so at that junction, we just hired a guitar player, and we started to try to make this thing happen again. So we were talking about doing some new music and getting back out and doing shows. And it started out pretty good. I mean, we got together. It felt like it wasn't too much work to get it up and running again, and we actually got some good gigs. And
Yeah,
you know,
I
probably
bet you.
all you, yeah.
Bueno, le pregunté cómo fue que al final, bueno, como les dije, después se reunieron. Y me dijo, sí, mira, pasaron como 8 años que no pasó nada y en definitiva después apareció otro manager que trabajaba con Billy y él fue un poco el que nos acercó, me preguntó ya, hicieron todo de una manera más correcta, de tocar juntos y yo acepté, Tommy ya estaba a bordo también. El único que no había aceptado era Michael porque él ya dijo de no salir más de gira. Y, pero estaba bien con que sea reemplazado con otro guitarrista y así fue como pudieron volver al escenario y tocar. Y bueno, yo los he visto, como mencioné, en un festival excelente, ahí me volaron la cabeza. Así que ahora le voy a preguntar un poquito de la reunión que intentó hacer el vocalista original, Dean, ¿ok? So, what happened when Dean tried to reunite the band in 2010?
That that's a little misleading. I think, but
Mm,
this is what happened. Basically, Dean, you know, has been trying for so long to remove himself from Britney history and the band itself, which is so bizarre to me because he's the guy that started it all. But he felt at one point that he didn't want to continue in that direction anymore. So in 2010, um, started to hear from him because we would talk once in a while.
oh, ok.
And, you know, he would call me and tell me whatever he was up to. And, you know, um, so I think because he tried so many different things on his own, a lot of the people that he was connected with was telling him, like, why don't you just do Britney Fox again? That's what people know you for. You know, that's your
Ujú.
band and what you know, basically should be doing. So he figured, I guess, in his mind that, okay, I'll try and use the Britney Fox name again, and but I'll do it my way, you know, like I'll make sure you know, I have the songs and I have this and this plan and that and that. And then when he told me this, I was like, Dean, this is exactly what went wrong the first time. You know what I mean? If this is going to be a band, we need to all discuss what we're going to do and be together on something. So, you know, this was the same sort of situation, but
Right.
um, you know, he wasn't really speaking to anybody but me at that time. And so I said, well, you know, let me get Billy on the side, you know, and because he was pissed at Billy as well for doing what he did, you know, but he didn't get involved in the business part of it. He just was not very happy with him. So I said,
So
let
Dean
me
was
be
pissed
the,
on Billy.
yeah,
Okay.
for going out
For-
and doing the what he did by himself, using the name and
oh, okay.
whatnot. So I said, well, I'll be the sort of, you know, organizer. I'll bring Billy to this side and I'll get Dean to this side. And then when we can sit down, those two guys together and see what happens. So, you know, Michael wasn't really involved yet, but I thought, um, yeah, let's see what happens. So I went and scheduled a sit down with those two guys and we sat down and talked, and things were cool. You know, nobody threw any fists or anything. We trying to talk like you know, adults.
Yeah,
And but I think what was being said by both of those guys, you know, Billy was like, look, dude, if you think you're just going to come back and like, you know, make all kinds of money and stuff like that, it's not really going to happen, because I've been out there trying to do it, and it's really not, you
not
know,
easy. Yeah,
this is still a little early before like a lot of the cruises and festivals were happening. You know, it wasn't a lot for a band like Britney Fox to do, just like some gigs here and there. But
yeah,
so, you know, Dean said his piece and Billy said his piece, and basically nothing was really sounding like it was going to work, you know. And then like by the next day, I never heard from Dean again, and he probably figured like, forget this idea, because, you know, if I can't do what I want to do, then it's not going to work. But, you know, what
right.
he didn't realize is that this is the same shit he did back when he left the band the first time, which was try to be in control
In control
of
of everything.
everything. And you know, it was much better for him to go form his own band and do it that way, because Britney Fox was meant to be, you know, sort of a band with, you know, four different opinions, you know,
Right.
agreeing on stuff.
Wow. Nice story.
Yeah,
Bueno,
so yeah, nothing happened out of that, even
yeah.
though, you know, it's kind of documented on the internet. It really wasn't even, we never got together to even play one note, you know, which is a shame.
What a shame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Entonces, bueno, la historia es que el cantante original, Dean, después de muchos años de querer sacarse el tema, el nombre de Britney Fox de encima, como que no quería saber nada que sea conectado con la banda, se le ocurrió que podría, ya tenía todo armado, ya tenía temas compuestos y todo, que fue lo que logró, lo que hizo que se fuera de la banda en un principio, cuando quiso tomar control de la banda. Y vino con esa propuesta, pero no hablaba con nadie, lo contactó a Johnny. Johnny hizo un poco de mediador, lo trajo a Billy primero, pues primero era a ver cómo iba la cosa entre ellos dos, sabiendo que Michael ya no quería tocar en ninguna banda. Y bueno, se juntaron los tres, pudieron estar un momento, un día juntos, estuvieron charlando. Y bueno, él propuso su cosa, su historia. La historia de la banda es que son todos los miembros participan, componen, colaboran, no es solo uno. Y en definitiva no pasó nada, porque al día siguiente ya no escucho más de Dean y ahí fue donde terminó todo un poco la historia. Pero bueno, hubo una pequeña posibilidad de que pudieran volver, ya que Dean, como solista mucho, bueno, tuvo una banda después, si no me equivoco, pero no ha tenido ningún tipo de historia. Y Billy le dijo, la situación no está como, esto fue antes de los barcos que hacen los conciertos, los festivales, que son muy buenos, le dijo Billy, no hay mucho más que tocar en algunos bares, pero la banda no da mucho como para hacer grandes conciertos, no esperes que vas a llenarte de dinero con esto, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, ahí quedó todo en el año 2010. Le voy a preguntar si la banda sigue. Is still Britney Fox alive besides all this craziness?
No, no,
Not anymore.
unfortunately not. We did those gigs in 2016, 17, and
Yeah.
the last gig we did was the Monsters of Rock cruise, I think, which went really great. And I thought, man, this, you know, this thing could do okay with these kinds of you know, events to play. We could maybe, you know, get through a whole year with some cool stuff and work on a record and that. But there was just no the personality clash of the old days was just still there, and it was like yeah, it was really I don't know. I just really don't understand why, you know, it's not like we're trying to cure cancer. I mean, it's rock and roll. We just make music. People should be, you know, really happy that anybody even wants to hear this stuff, or you know, allow them to make some new music and stuff. But it was like it was just a miserable situation. Nobody was really having fun with each other, and
That's weird.
you
I mean,
know,
when I saw you
yeah.
guys, when I interviewed you, I mean, you were not in that interview, but last interview with Britney Fox. I mean, the vibe was amazing. The guys with me were amazing, and I didn't expect that. This thing going on.
Yeah, well, it's hard to, you know, I mean, it was new and everybody was like excited to be back and playing again. But I mean, even if, just for an example, if you get in a room and you present a song, um, you know, you should give it a little bit of time before you want to say like that. I'm not working on that. It's really not up to my
Mm.
expectations or whatever, you know. And Billy's real particular with material, you know. So him and Tommy were going back and forth with some ideas, and you know, who doesn't like this and who doesn't want to work on that, and it just kills the vibe, you know. So
So it
we
was
went
between,
from having,
yeah, between each other mainly these uh,
yeah, I
personalities
mean,
clashing.
going out and playing a gig is easy. I mean, you get
Yeah,
on stage, of course you're going to have fun playing, you know, in front of people and whatnot, but when you're just you know, together, trying to work together with no, you know, other things going on, it's a little bit difficult, especially since, you know, it's been so long since we have even been together as people, you know. I mean, I
yeah.
was best friends with Bill when I joined the band. We grew up, I mean, I literally started playing in my basement with Billy when I was like 17 years old, you know. It was one of the first bands that I had, and he came looking for a drummer with another guy, and then we ended up playing, you know, in a band together. We were like super tight through all the Britney stuff. When I, you know, when I went to Wasted, our relation friendship didn't, you know, hold up so well because he was a little bit, I don't know, because I got a break and he didn't. But when we got together in Britney, everything was good. And then, you know, uh, when Dean left the band, it's like somebody felt like they had to take over, you know, writing and doing whatever. And Bill just became sort of unbelievably hard to deal with. So even for me, to have been super good friends with a guy and then all of a sudden not really be able to stand being in a room with him for very long, it's like super hard. But
Right,
that's just,
right.
you know, people change over time, and
Yeah,
you know, so that was something that really made it difficult for us to keep it together, you know.
that is sad. I mean, as a fan,
Yeah, it is.
it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm still a fan, and I see many bands go through the same thing, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
always like, you know, I just wonder. I mean, on one hand, as a fan, I'm sad about it, you know, and as a musician and knowing the sides and the things, way things work on the inside, it's like, man, you know, it doesn't have to be that way, you know. If you just communicate and fucking have fun,
Yeah.
everything's good, you know. But it's like people make it more of a chore, more of a job, and it just becomes not fun
Not
anymore, and
fun
that
anymore.
sucks, you know.
Le preguntaba, bueno, si la banda continúa, dijo que no, que estuvieron hasta el 2017. En el 2017 ya dejaron de tocar porque la vibra era muy mala, no se estaban llevando bien. Dine fue el compositor de la banda cuando Dean se fue. Billy trató de mantener eso, pero para él fue muy difícil. Y bueno, las personalidades cambian, él ha cambiado mucho. Yo me sentí incómodo estando con él cuando de chico fue mi primera banda prácticamente, y somos amigos de que tengo 17 años, que empecé a tocar con la banda, y también hubo complicaciones entre él y Tommy de composición, de que elegían un tema, que no elegían, no se ponían de acuerdo, y todo eso digamos que tiró la banda abajo y no siguieron adelante. Pero bueno, son cosas que pasan y es triste, pero básicamente eso es lo que pasó. We're going to talk about a little bit about Doro, if you have
Okay.
a few more minutes. So
Sure, man.
she released Magic Diamonds, right?
Yeah.
Recently, or it's
Yep.
going to be released, something like that, you
No,
know?
it's out. It's out
It's out.
about, I don't know, maybe like a month ago or so.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And
And
that's
tell me
go
about it.
ahead,
I mean,
sorry.
tell me about
It,
Magic Diamonds. What it's a 3 CD box set. What it includes? Estoy preguntando de lo que sacó Doro reciente.
it's a sort of a greatest hits plus Doro favorites and some things that just special things that she kind of pulled out that were special to her that have happened since the last album and tour, and maybe even, you know, there's some live stuff on there from the first tour that I did, which was in '93.
Oh,
And
wow.
you know, yeah, we always, you know, we learn a lot of songs for, she's got so much material and so much good things, ballads and things maybe we don't play, you know, we can't play 5 or 6 ballads in a concert, so some of the stuff just never really gets put out there. So there's, you know, if we learned a song and maybe played it a few times live and there's a recording of it, she wanted to share that with the fans and whatnot. So this is it's a little bit of everything. It's kind of some re-recorded versions of a few songs. We did a Love Me in Black redo, and then there's some, you know, guest appearances and whatnot. You know, Doro, she puts
Big
yeah,
fan.
she likes to you know, do special products for fans, you know, and I
That's
think it's
good.
cool because you know, something different once in a while. But yeah, she's been busy. I mean, put out a double CD, you know, over a year ago, and now a triple
Triple
thing with a
CD.
bunch of
Wow.
other special cool. So she's not slacking at all. That girl keeps herself busy
She's
and
Gemini.
still working on new, yeah, still working on new music. So she's, you know, doing her best.
Good,
So
good.
we're
There's,
looking forward to, you know, to maybe playing again someday. I hope that happens. We have a couple gigs booked
oh,
for the
really?
year. We're gonna see what happens. I mean, there's we did a few gigs in 2020 actually, which were like drive-ins and a couple
Oh,
socially distanced shows like
oh,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Right. The one you did the first one with the cars, right? Drive
yeah,
in.
yeah, we were probably one of the first bands to try that, you know. And I
How
never
was that?
thought Doro. I don't know why, you know. I mean, it's a very different thing. There's not much ambience, you know. It's pretty strange, but it's also um, you know, the people that were there enjoyed it. We did, you know, what we could to try and make it good for them. I mean, people are dying to go to shows, and we
Hmm.
were willing to try anything just to make something happen, you know. And it's not something for the future, you know, that will replace live music or people, you know, passionately going in a crowd and enjoying music, but it's we figure we have to do something to get to the next spot, you know, to get a little bit better. But we have a couple of those shows booked for this springtime, so we'll see if they happen. Um,
It's gonna be
and
drive-in too,
I
or
think it's more like seated but spaced out,
okay.
outdoors. You know, the same as the indoor thing. Looks like it's going to take some time, so you know,
Yeah.
we'll do what we can, but yeah, we just remain hopeful and see what we can do. How soon we'll all be able to get back to what we love.
Cool. Let me translate a little bit.
Yeah.
So, le pregunté de Magic Diamonds, el nuevo box set que acaba de sacar. Me adelanto lo que dijo, que el año pasado sacó un disco doble, que ahora sacó un disco triple. Bueno, Doro se mantiene bastante ocupada. El box set tiene un grandes éxitos, tiene temas regrabados, temas que le gustaba a Doro en vivo, que ella los ha tocado, tiene muchas baladas y tocar en un concierto muchas baladas no, como que no da, entonces de alguna manera quería que otros fans pudieran experimentar eso en vivo y están puestas ahí 5 o 6 canciones más suaves y que, bueno, ella se mantiene, le dije que se mantiene así porque es de Géminis, como yo soy de Géminis. I was saying that she's Gemini because I am Gemini, you know,
Okay.
so that is why she's good. I mean,
You
she's good.
guys.
I am Gemini, I'm not good, okay?
Uh,
Y después estábamos hablando de que hicieron el primer concierto con autos, ¿ok? Ellos hicieron el primer concierto el año pasado donde se iba en auto. Así que fue una experiencia poco extraña, porque se perdió la vibra de que esté la gente ahí, que pudiera estar esa conexión entre los músicos y la gente. Obviamente no va a reemplazar los conciertos en vivo, pero fue una opción como para ver. Ellos estaban viendo qué poder hacer con la situación para poder tocar. Tienen un par de conciertos ya buqueados para este año, así que vamos a ver qué pasa con eso. Le voy a preguntar cómo describiría a Doro. How will you describe her, Doro?
oh man, passionate, uh, just a very dedicated, you know, yeah, super passionate and just loves music, loves to create, loves to sing, loves to perform. Very humble and honest and true. She's a sweetheart. I mean, it's like she's a badass, but she's also, you know, a lot of singers have to have this persona where they're, you know, to get in that headspace, you have to feel like you know, you have to be, um, I don't know, something bigger, but she has a special connection with her audience. It's not like, you know, look at me, I'm this great thing. It's like, I'm just like you and let's connect and, you know, let's just vibe on this music. And it's really cool because it's not like something that I see all the time. You know, it's I've had really so many years in this band and observing that from the stage,
Yeah.
especially coming from America over to Germany to perform with a German artist in front of, you know, her people, and like just to see the reaction from fans crying. I never experienced anyone crying at a song, you know, in
Wow.
say Britney Fox or something like that, and
Yeah.
or any other bands. And you know, she's got some really touching, heartfelt lyrics, you know. So
That's weird.
it's cool.
Sweet. Wow, wow. Bueno, le pregunté de la personalidad de Doro, que es muy apasionada, es una persona muy dulce, no, a pesar de que tiene su persona es popular y es muy famosa, que no está en ese podio, no está en ese personaje, sino que es muy dulce y se conecta mucho con los fanáticos. Incluso en los conciertos he visto gente llorar en sus interpretaciones, sus canciones, y no lo he visto con ninguna otra banda. A veces sus letras llegan mucho al fanático y eso es algo que admiro mucho. Okay, so I wonder if there's something that I've been digging, you know, I want to mention again that I've been digging on a little bit of your life, and I found some pictures of you. I'm
Oh
going to show
boy.
it to you, and please explain me what is going on here.
Ah, yeah, that's my secret vampire life. Yeah,
Mi vida
that's
secreta de vampiro.
yeah.
How's
That is
that? I mean, you look crazy here.
well, you know,
I'm
things
scared.
happen late at night, you know. And yeah, that was a Halloween here in Germany, and just we're trying to make like, it's not really a big thing here,
Yeah.
so we tried to make our own party, and we had a really fun time going
Bueno,
out around town, people looking at us strangely and stuff like that. But that was good.
I have another one. Ok, fue una fiesta de Halloween y yo le dije que me daba mucho miedo su cara.
Ah, wow. Man, you've been digging pretty good there, buddy.
Yeah. What happened here?
That was that's wow, that was my drum tech's wedding.
Oh, ok.
Yeah, there
La
was
fiesta de casamiento de mi baterista
some
y técnico.
yeah, some Peruvian vibes going on.
Oh,
He
really?
married a yeah,
Peruvian? ¿De
married a
Perú?
Peruvian girl, and some good stuff going on there. Dressing up and drinking a lot and having
Having
a good
fun?
time. Yeah, it was awesome. Ah, cute.
You look sweet here.
Thank you. My son's favorite toy.
Oh, really? Teddy
Yeah,
bear?
Masha and the Bear. It's a Russian cartoon,
Oh,
which is like now popular all over the world. And yeah, he loves that. So he got that bear, and that thing's so soft and comfortable that I was just like, oh, it's a nice
you
pillow to
fall
take a
asleep.
nap. Yeah, man.
Bueno, ese es
After,
el osito del hijo, que tiene un nombre ruso de un dibujo animado ruso. Y se quedó dormido con el osito. And the last one.
whoa, wow, who the hell is that? Is that Luca?
Yeah, that's us.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Wow. That is crazy. When the hell? That's quite a while ago, no?
Oh yeah, when you play, one of the times you play with Doro here in LA, and I interview her, and the thing is, on the video you almost locked your jaw. You were trying to do this, like, oh my gosh,
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Man, that's a trip. Yeah, I miss touring, man. I miss coming out there and seeing you and all my other buddies out there.
How often do you come to the US so far, or since?
I mean, I was, in 2019, I was back and forth, 25
Regularly?
times, but, this all stopped since the Monsters cruise in 2020. That was February of last year.
Because Doro
Uh,
was here in January for the Heavy Metal Awards.
yeah,
It was Tommy, Doro,
right.
big
At
guy, I don't
NAM, right?
remember the name.
Yeah,
You were not here.
yep. Yeah, I mean, my last trip was the Monsters cruise, so I, couldn't even visit my family for Christmas or anything. So
Oh.
dying to get back there.
Well, hopefully I'm gonna see you soon here in LA,
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Are you Italian?
Yeah,
Do you speak Italian?
yeah, a little
Really?
bit. My father was born there, but I was born in the States, and yeah, so I learned a lot of the dialect that
Which
he
one?
speaks.
Oh my gosh.
Abruzzese, yeah.
My wife's family is Abruzzese.
Really?
Yeah, actually I
Yeah.
was in
Where were you?
Basto,
Pescara?
Pescara.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went to Pescara, Marina. I forgot the name of the city.
yeah. My father's
Really?
born in Giulianova, which is just up from Pescara a bit, a little bit smaller, but a coastal town like that, and
Really?
beautiful. Yeah, that's great. Your wife is her
Yeah.
roots are from there.
Yeah, actually, I don't know the whole country, but I went to a very few spots, and one of them was in. I didn't know you were. I mean, your
Abruzzo,
family
yeah,
was from there.
yeah, man. My
Yeah,
dad.
nice, nice.
Yeah, it's cool,
Anyway,
man.
Johnny. Oh, let me translate this little part. Bueno, estábamos hablando un poquito ¿de qué estábamos hablando? De si venía para acá, hace rato que no vino para el año, en enero estuvo Doro, que lo entrevisté y salió por acá por Explos. y él no estuvo Tommy Boland, te mando un abrazo, Tommy. Después le pregunté un poquito si tenía, bueno, sabía que era de descendencia italiana, el papá es italiano y habla italiano, parla italiano, y es de Abruzzo, que es de donde es la familia de mi pareja, y le contaba que estuve en San Salvo, Downer Pescara, you know, San Salvo,
Okay,
Marina
yeah.
San Salvo Marina is where I was, in Basto. Y bueno, conectándonos por ese lado también. Así que, okay, last question for you will be, what will you ask to my next guest? It's an open question because you don't know who's going to be. I don't know who's going to be. So
Yeah.
just whatever you would like to know from someone that is popular. ¿Qué le preguntarías a mi próximo invitado?
Yeah, what are they doing right now? Because they're not on tour, maybe they're, you know, driving an Uber, or maybe, you know, whatever it is, but just want to know what everybody's doing while they have this time off.
Good. I'm gonna ask that. It's gonna be the same video that you just did on that interview. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, Johnny. Thank you for your time, brother. Thank you
Yeah,
for
Lucas.
being part of my life. You know,
Oh, dude, love you, man. Muchas
I love you too.
gracias.
Yeah. Say hi to your wife, your son. I hope your dad time is doing great. Besides having the
It's
kid all the time.
fantastic. That's the only thing that's saving grace of this time, is to actually be home for 1 year and to watch my son grow up, you know.
Yeah, this is a good part. You know,
Yeah.
touring is not gonna let you do that, probably, right?
No, it will be difficult, man, especially when they're super young and small, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. Life has to go on, buddy. So you take care of yourself.
I will, brother, and we're gonna stay in touch. The show is for you, okay? Whatever you need, please let me know, okay?
Cool, man.
And stay safe. Okay?
Yeah.
Take care.
Say hi to your wife for me, man.
I
Take
will.
care.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks.